Hey everybody, it's Romania Black, and we finished the OG Trigun series. It's been amazing, and that finale left me hungry for more. But before we go on to Stampede, luckily we have more of the OG Trigun, which is this movie called BadLands Rumble. Now, I know nothing about this. The only thing I know is that when I was telling my brother that I was going to watch the OG Trigun series, he was like, "Are you watching the movie too?" And I was like, "I guess, yeah." And he was like, "Okay, good." And so he really likes the movie. That's all he said. He really likes it. So I'm like, cool. We both have very different tastes in anime, so I don't know if that says anything. But I'm sure that I'll like it. We have very different tastes in anime on a lot of levels, but if he likes Trigun and I like Trigun and he likes the movie, then chances are I will probably like the movie as well. Just based on that. But yeah, it's an hour and a half. I am watching the sub because I'm keeping with the sub. I know the dub is good. I've watched parts of the dub over the last few weeks. It's really good. I like it. I feel like it's kind of like, it reminds me a lot of the Cowboy Bebop dub, which is really good as well. I have the English dub voice actors for Cowboy Bebop. They've signed the one for Spike and Faye. They signed that for me at a convention, which I was really excited about. But yeah, the English dub for Trigun is really good. There's a lot of good English dubs in the 90s that were really, really well done. There are some that are questionable, but I feel like Cowboy Bebop, Trigun, some of these like more sci-fi kind of westerns were really, really good. And I think the fact that they're a little bit more realistic, my theory is that a lot of the 90s anime that had grounding in more realistic environments or with more realistic settings or characters, I feel like they had better dubs, right? It's just my take. I get my tinfoil hat on, but I'm really excited to dive into this movie and see what we get before we start Stampede, which will be next week, which is exciting. But I'm going to save pretty much any comments. I've decided I'm going to do like a spoiler corner for Stampede because obviously you can't watch a remix of a series without referencing the OG, right? Without referencing the original. And I'm like, I don't want to spoil the original for people that have only seen Stampede. So with that being said, I think I'm going to do I'm still tinkering with the idea of it, but I think after the reaction, I'm going to just talk about the episode of Stampede and then do like a spoiler corner at the end for the OG series where I can make comparisons, talk about things that I like, maybe things that I'm like, what in the world? Things like that. So I'm pretty excited about that starting next week. That's going to be really nice. And if something from this movie comes up in Stampede, we can talk about it as well. So, haha. But with that being said, before we start, I want to give a very quick shout out over to Patreon. Thank you, first of all, YouTube, for all of your subscribers and fun comments and things like that. But the people on Patreon support me and allow me to keep doing what I'm doing. So I want to give a special shout out to them. Obviously, the patrons who support me just by $1 to be in the polls and the Discord. Those that support me by doing the $5 to see things a week ahead of time. So if you want to see the first episode of Stampede, you can go ahead and do that if you're on YouTube. And then those that are in the philanthropy tier who get all of that and they get a shout out in my videos because they are amazing and they help me do what I love to do, which is talk to you all about anime and manga. So yeah, raw. So I want to give a special shout out this week to Edgar, to Dana, to Alex Cornejo, to Kiri, to Be Happy, to Tyrone, to Animate Annie, to Eric, to Sunspots, to Translucent Men, to Anna, to Goob, to Nameless Monster, to Shimoyama, to Matthew Palfinier, to Ashigots No Bitches, to Trails, to Sack, to Zachiel, and to Destiny Marie. You all are amazing. Y'all know that, but I really appreciate it. All of my love. So yeah, we're not going to waste any more time. We're going to get started on this. I am going to be posting this to Vidyard, which is a different hosting site than Streamable because it is a movie. Usually my bigger files go over there because they're bigger and Streamable just cannot handle it. So, or at least for me. So in that case, I'm not wearing headphones. So consider this a treat, y'all. But we're going to start a Trigun BadLands Rumble and see what we get. And we're going to do that here in 3, 2, 1, and let's go. Well, that was an entertaining movie. What a weird movie. I liked that. That was fine. I enjoyed it. I always am a little bit hesitant with anime movies from series because my biggest fear is that they're not canon. And so I'm not like I've not watched any of the One Piece movies because One Piece movies tend to be just offshoot. Here's just some random thing that happens, and they don't really have like a canon element to them. So they're hard to tie into the main story. So they just kind of feel like filler. And this one did, I will say, if I'm going to critique it on anything, it's that it doesn't quite, some things that happen in the episode or in the movie rather, I'm like, I don't know how that ties in with the canon because you would think this happens relatively early on in the series because Meryl and Millie are not that invested in Vash. They're going back. It trying to place this within the timeline is very weird because they had to have met Wolfwood, right? So it's at least past episodes like 7 and 8. And then they've been around, it's like, it probably takes place around episode 10, I guess, because the moon shooting hasn't happened yet, but Meryl and Millie know Vash, but they're not that connected to him because when they find out he dies, that was the one thing, when they find out he dies in this, we don't even get the reaction. They're just like, oh, well, he's dead. I'm like, if this had happened like around episode 24, 25, they'd have been like bawling and like just puddles, you know? And then Wolfwood, I'm sorry, but Wolfwood taking the glasses, that was really good. I loved that. I'm like, they did a little shipping with Vash and Wolfwood in this movie, which I will not oppose ever. But I'm like, you guys could have gone further. If you're going to ship it a little bit, you could have shipped it a lot, right? There was, oddly enough, there was like no fan service in this except for Wolfwood wearing Vash's glasses, which usually movies and stuff like this, they kind of amp up the fan service. No. Although, seeing drunk Meryl and Millie and Vash and Amelia just drunk at this bar was absolute chaos. And I was kind of living for it. So I will say this. I like MadHouse as an animation studio handling Trigun because there is kind of like this whimsical corniness to the design work in Trigun. Like there's very like over the top kind of futuristic Western outfits, like the big giant shoulder pads that Gasback has, and then like the over the top weaponry, the schlock. Like it's very, it lends itself. MadHouse does a good job of animating that. It gave me, oddly enough, this movie's aesthetic kept reminding me of two different things. It reminded me of Hellsing Ultimate, which is a MadHouse production as well, so that makes sense. But it also reminded me of the Boondocks. Is Boondocks MadHouse? I don't know, but the animation style kept making me think of it. It was so bizarre. I was like, what is happening? But I kept on thinking about it. I don't know what it is. It had a very interesting style to it. I liked the idea that the 3 robbers that were with Gasback at the beginning were tied back in the ones running the town. They took over the town and ran it because they had all the money from the robbery. That part was really cool. I liked that. I wish we'd developed more with that. I honestly thought we were going to develop a lot more between Gasback and the 3 robbers that were his comrades. I thought we were going to really delve more into that, but we hardly focused any time on that. It was mainly Amelia that we focused on, which was fine, but I thought that was like a really maybe wasted opportunity. Like it would have been kind of cool to go back to their involvement because, as Vash says at the end, because he saved Gasback, Amelia was born. Like he didn't conceive Amelia till after the robbery, or at least he conceived her maybe before the robbery or right around the same time. So it would have been interesting. The one thing was, I guess, the one aspect that Amelia kept bringing up was that her mom died because of her dad. And it was not because of anything he directly did to her, but it was because of his reputation. Because he was a robber, nobody cared about the mom and the girl, Amelia. And then when she got sick, nobody helped her because she was, the lover of Gasback the robber. So she's like, well, if my dad wasn't a piece of shit, somebody would have helped my mom and she probably would have lived. And it's like, you're not wrong there. That sucks. That's really bad. And then she gets this cool freaking glove. That's what she talked about, like your technique doesn't work because she had the glove that would prevent it. The only thing that was kind of like was it is such a trope and cliche plot element that, oh, this new character is the child of the antagonist and they have beef with the antagonist for something in their childhood that was neglected or abandoned or blah, blah, blah. And they're trying to seek redemption and trying to seek vindication with the antagonistic parent that probably doesn't know they exist. And at the end, they all somehow make up at the end. It was a very cliche formula in that regard, and I've seen it done a lot. But it was fine. I liked Amelia's character. I thought she was pretty badass. I liked her. I liked her voice actress a lot. She was really good. Vash got really, again, this is like early on Vash. Vash was super hardcore flirty with her, like throughout. And she just kept being like, eh. Then when she got the hives from him, I'm like, dude, she's a lesbian. Leave her alone. I really wanted her to like flirt with Meryl or Millie or something to just like confirm, right? But I thought that was pretty funny. But yeah, I thought Amelia's character was fine. Gasback had a really cool design as a villain. I liked that a lot. I thought that was really neat. I liked his design as a villain. It very much gave off Legato vibes. I really was hoping that we would have gotten some kind of connection to the main storyline via Knives or via Legato or something to place when this was happening in the timeline, but we did not get that. And that's fine. It just would have been some kind of cool tie-in. Also, the idea of the ideals that Vash just deals with whatever the dice deals him. I like that theme. It's fine. But I guess other than the tried and true trope of the antagonist's daughter or child coming back to find them, the one element that I was like, about was Vash shooting Gasback twice. Not once, but twice at the end. I was like, wait a minute. Because the whole time in the original series, the big thing is that Vash doesn't kill anybody. And he doesn't really shoot anybody either. He knocks the guns out of their hands. He disables the guns, but he doesn't actually like shoot a part of them that would hurt them, right? He always finds a way of like, he causes an avalanche, or he finds a way to disengage them, or he finds a way to incapacitate them, but there's never any bloodshed, right? Because in the original series, like when we see him shoot Knives in the leg, it's a big freaking deal. And it like destroys Vash that he did that. Him shooting Legato was like the major turning point of despair for Vash. Here, he shoots Gasback twice and doesn't care. He's just like, that's what we had to do. And I'm like, wait a minute. This is a big deal back, last a week or two ago. And then he incapacitates him. I guess I was surprised that he legit shot him. I would have expected maybe that he clogged up the gun or something. But then as we learned from Mid-Valley, that could be even more deadly. So maybe we don't do that either. It was just very weird. It was very weird to see Vash legit shoot people and not bat an eyelash. I was like, what? And it seemed like his whole, he uses the dice being cast metaphor rather than just saying peace and love. I'm doing this because I don't want to hurt people. He kind of says that throughout this, but it's not as explicit. I'm amazed that Gasback does not question how Vash has aged, and Gasback doesn't really age that much either. We see his lackeys age a lot over the course of the 20 years, but Gasback doesn't really look that different. His hair's faded a little bit, but it's not enough to do much. I will say, MadHouse does an insane job with animating action, and they do a really good job. And so I thought all of the action sequences throughout were really well done. It was chaotic and insane. The bar scene was just absolutely nuts. I think one of my favorite moments in the whole movie is when Amelia looks down and all the people in the bar, their guns, all the ammo's been taken away. And then you cut to Vash under the table and he's holding all the bullets. He's been going around collecting them all in his coat, crawling around while they've been distracted. That part was hilarious and I loved it to pieces, right? I loved it. But yeah, 20 years ago, I will say the town itself had the plant, right? Was pretty developed, had armored cars and a helicopter, had some pretty freaking amazing technology. And then we cut to it in the present time. It's all gone to shit and there is no good technology anymore. And everything is just kind of ran down. And you're like, well, what happened? Why did it regress? And then you find out, well, because people running the town are freaking robbers. They're not qualified to be mayor. The people running the town are not doing a good job. And so that's why it's become this like lawless place, right? So I liked that by the time you found all that out, it was very interesting. But yeah, so I will say the animation lended itself well. The gaudy statue, I liked that the statue turning had a purpose, that when the light bulb came down and it turned with it, like I liked that little callback. There were lots of things in this movie that lended itself to it, if something happened and then it was explained or used later on in the story, which was nice. I liked that it wasn't just something random. I'm glad Meryl and Millie were in this. I like the Star Wars references. There were a couple scenes that drug on maybe a little too long, like the opening sequence with the two goons where Amelia and Vash kind of take them out. I bless their hearts, those poor guys, like they struggled the entire movie. They struggled. They just kept getting in one bad scene after the other. But I guess it was to develop the relationship between Amelia and Vash and the fact that she doesn't want him around her, right? The animation, again, really, really well done throughout. I liked the idea. And then Wolfwood showing up like a badass. I love that Wolfwood just got hired as a bodyguard because he wanted to break a tin for some water. That's great. That's real great. I kind of love that. I kind of love it a lot. That he was just like, what can we do? And you could tell the animators loved drawing Wolfwood because they were like, yes, please, this is the guy we're going to spend all our money on. He had some great shots. Like Wolfwood looks so badass, and he's the only guy that can make smoking cigarettes look as cool. But God, he has a problem. He was smoking so much in this movie. I was like, dude, you need to lay off. But yeah, the casino scene is great. I love the idea of Meryl and them getting drunk. I just love the gimmick. Oh my God, no. The whole bar scene in general was probably my favorite in the whole movie. Like the whole bar scene, him grabbing the bullets. Millie's joke where Amelia's like, I'm going to be in a big dangerous situation. She's like, would you like to take out this simple life insurance plan? That's the stuff about Trigun that I really love. And it's the concept of just this like tongue-in-cheek humor that's so on the nose and very 90s, because even though this movie was made obviously in the 2000s, 2010s, the 90s humor of the life insurance policy, that is a classic joke and I freaking love it. I wish we had more interaction between Meryl and Millie and Vash and Wolfwood, especially Wolfwood and Millie. Like my heart was kind of craving it in this, but that's fine, movie. Don't give it to us. Whatever. I did like the Meryl and Vash moments where she was like trying to grab him by the ear and he was like, they're a little, they had some flirty moments, but this was really about Vash and Amelia, which again, when you have an anime movie with a one-shot character, usually the one-shot character takes precedence over the other characters, and that's for better or for worse. And here, I would have liked more with Meryl and Vash and Millie and Vash, but considering where we are supposedly around the time the story takes place, it makes sense that they're not as close as they are later on in the series. And we got to focus on Amelia and figure out her not obvious connection to Gasback, right? But yeah, there's some really good animation throughout this. I love that nobody believed that Vash was Vash the Stampede. There were some times where the screen was so dark, like when Vash gets out of the sand pit, which we'll talk about that in a minute. When Vash gets out of the sand pit, you couldn't really tell what was happening until you went back. And there were a couple moments where the animation was so dark, I was like, what's happening? You had to kind of squint. The Marshall plot line was really well done. I did not see the sheriff being the fraud and being a traitor. I thought he was just a bad sheriff. And then you find out, well, no, yeah, literally he's a bad sheriff because he's not a sheriff at all. He's with Gasback's men. I thought that part was really well done. And I liked the scene where Vash carries Amelia back to the bed in the hotel. And he's like, we'll share a bed. And then he ends up not at all. He sleeps in the chair because even though Vash teases and flirts, he is a gentleman at heart, which was very, very sweet. I liked that. And I liked their little, I like when she was threatening to throw up and he was like, not on the coat. But yeah, the whole mom thing was fine. And I liked that at the end we finally got the explanation, which is okay. But, it's all right. And then those kids shooting Vash saying he's Gasback. And then him meeting up with Meryl and Millie. And then the whole town's invaded. All of that stuff happens. The part with them in when they confront the three guys at first, I couldn't believe the one guy killed the other two. He just shot them. He was just like, look, see, I'm dedicated. Don't kill me. I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe he shot them. I do like that the movie ends with him kind of getting his comeuppance. And the movie ends like kind of open note where Vash is like, are we going to stop this guy now? Wolfwood's like, I guess. And then they work together. That part was cool. I was hoping that the brothers they saw at the end were going to be some people that would connect us back to the main story, but it's fine. So yeah, and then Wolfwood and Vash team up, and Wolfwood's like, look, I want my contract with this guy to be over, so just let him get in the house, and then we don't have to worry anymore, and we're done. But yeah, Amelia has the reaction of Vash being the one to help Gasback. I thought it'd be a little bit more than what she gave out, but we don't have time to worry about that because there's a giant light bulb careening through town. I thought that part was good. I liked the light bulb scene where they stole it. It made sense because they pulled up in that big truck with the inflatable cowgirl, and I'm like, what the hell is happening? Why is there an inflatable sex doll in the back of this truck? And then it was to cart the light bulb away, and I was like, oh, it was to cushion the light bulb. I mean, we're in a town with no resources, but we have time for a giant inflatable cowboy girl. Whatever. I'm not going to question it. I'm not going to question what's available in this town. Not going to question it at all. But I thought that the whole idea of the light bulb, the reveal of the marshal, everything was really, really well done. I liked it. And then, of course, Wolfwood and Vash take off together. I like Vash driving. Why did you let Vash drive to begin with? Wolfwood's the one that should have been driving from the start. He's the guy that has the motorcycle. The thing about them shooting Vash, right? The thing about them shooting Vash, obviously, he comes back for the badass entrance at the end, right? He comes back for the badass entrance at the end. It was fine, but if you've watched the series, then you know that Vash is not going to die. So then it's just a matter of, so then, you don't get as invested at the characters' reactions because you're like, well, Vash is fine. He's okay. Although, Wolfwood taking the glasses and wearing them was a top-notch choice. Loved that symbolism there. But I don't know, it was more like, well, how is Vash surviving? Because we know that he does. And then I did like the idea of the Thomas meat, which is like a block of wood, apparently. I like the idea of the Thomas meat being so hard that it literally made a bulletproof vest. That's what they should be doing with this stuff. Don't eat it. Just make vests out of it. Seriously. But yeah, I like the idea of Wolfwood immediately diving in and trying to save him before he even had the rope tied off in the quicksand. He was already jumping in. That was great. And then I wanted more of a heart-to-heart with Amelia versus Wolfwood. It was kind of that like generic, like, I guess I don't know about ideals. I guess not. It was fine, but I was really hoping she would have given more information to Wolfwood and Wolfwood could have related to Vash or something, but it's fine. And then, of course, Meryl and Millie, end up finding Vash. And because, Amelia realizes that by shooting Gasback and nearly breaking the light bulb, she thinks she was no different than him. And so I do like the meetup between Amelia and Wolfwood, where that's the one thing. He breaks something in his room, but you can't see it because the screen's too damn dark, right? And then you find out later, as he's leaving the room, like, what it was. What was it? What did he walk past? I want to see. Like, the light was blurring it for me. And I was like, what do we do? Let me see here. I want to go back and see what exactly it was that he walked back, that he destroyed. What was it? Let's see what it was. Okay, he walked by. It was like a table or something that he destroyed, or a chair or something that he wrecked out of anger, which is, Wolfwood getting all upset because Vash died. I mean, this movie did nothing but fuel my Vash and Wolfwood ship, which was great, but I also wanted more of my Vash and Meryl ship, which I didn't get, or my Millie Wolfwood ship that was non-existent in this movie. And then, yeah, him and Amelia and Wolfwood have the very badass scene where they go to the mountain to find the gang, And it's like, it's so cool. Like them just like, the animation's great. And then of course, Vash has to show back up and take his glasses back. I love that Wolfwood had his glasses in his pocket. Like, okay, cool. I'm like, how did those not get crushed into a million pieces? Good sir. And then, yeah, they confront Gasp back, and we find out that Gasp, dun dun dun, Amelia is his daughter. Who knew? And then, yeah, the mom died, and then she took the glove. That's the MacGuffin that proves that she's his kid. Imagine that, shall we? Gasp. But yeah, this movie was really good. I liked it. I'm glad I watched it. I would probably put it on again if I was just, you know, I kind of want to watch it with the English dub now to hear Vash and Wolfwood do some of the stuff in the English dub. I like at the very end that Wolfwood is just like, that Wolfwood is just following Vash around. They're like, what are we going to do now? It's like, I guess you don't get too many bad rolls of the dice, A. And then they find, where is that? I want to see like show me the paper. Let's see. Yeah, he gets the Old North. It says Australia on it, it says Australia on the bottle, which is so bizarre. And then, yeah, the brothers serving 22. Yeah, they're not anybody that we know. So that is the one thing that I would change. I mean, you can nitpick the plot line with the daughter being, you know, the daughter of the antagonist or whatnot, and the shipping elements, which I'm a big shipper, so that's just me. But if there was one thing I could honestly add to this, I would have put in more Easter eggs from the actual canon OG, because I know this takes place and was created a lot later than the OG, so... But it would have been cool to have like those little nods, like maybe see a Gung Ho Gang member in the crowd, or see something tied to Legato, something to tie it back to the original series, because as itself, it just really stands on its own. And Badlands Rumble is a very interesting title, because I mean, it's not wrong. It just doesn't really connect to any specific part of the movie, but... What do I know? I'm not the one that marketed this movie. I didn't create it. Whatever. But yeah, I did like this a lot. It was a lot of fun to watch. Like I said, I would put on like the English dub of this, and like while I'm doing stuff, have it playing in the background, because it was entertaining. I thought it was neat. Some of the stuff with Vash, I'm like, we kind of get a little out of character with him, just a wee bit, but I'm not going to complain too much about it. So starting next week, we've now got the OG anime done and the movie. Next week is going to be Trigun Stampede. Luckily, I do have a moderator that can check the comments for Stampede. I'm excited. Like I said, I will have a spoiler corner to talk about the OG stuff. And then we'll also talk about what happens in the episodes. I'm excited to see what it's about. It's only 12 episodes, so... I know they're in the process of doing a second season, so we'll just see how that works. But I definitely can see why my brother liked this movie. My brother's really big into like anime action, and he's into like robotics and things like that. So I could see why the action in this movie he would have really, really liked. And the humor of Vash was definitely on point for what my brother likes in this movie. So I could see why he liked it, and I enjoyed it too. So... But I'm curious to know y'all's thoughts down below. I thought this was a fun movie, but I'm curious to know your comments, what you guys thought, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Before we move on to Trigun Stampede. So, in the meantime, I hope y'all have a wonderful week. Please stay safe, take care, and yeah, I'll be back next week as we start Trigun Stampede. Bye!